So this is the idea. I'm following the chat slowly. You know, I agree to a lot of it. Aaron, tip jar on Moodle.org. We have one. Donations don't work. People do not donate, and there's good reasons for that. It's not specific enough, and actually most institutions cannot make donations. They're just not set up to do it. Here is the plan, and this is what we are doing and what we're launching. So we're launching the Moodle Association. The Moodle Association is about Moodle users working directly on the Moodle roadmap and paying for it. Those two things go together. In the past, having those two things separate has caused some of the problems, but putting them together, suddenly things work. How does this work? Let me explain. The association works like this. The first thing is it's a non-profit organisation owned by Moodle users. So it's completely separate to Moodle HQ. It's owned by users. It's run by users. Once it's set up, you know, we are setting it up, but once it is set up, we will not have control over it. It collects annual fees from membership, and there'll be a variety of membership levels. All those fees go into a development fund. Then the users work together, and I'll explain how, on determining what the core development priorities should be. And then they pay Moodle HQ to develop those projects in core. Let me go into a bit more detail. This is how those priorities get determined. There's 6-month cycles that match Moodle releases. We just came up with a new name for those today, but it may not happen. They might be called orbits. Anyway, they're cycles. And roughly they'll be like this. There's about a 4-month specification period. And in that 4-month specification period, any member can lead a project. So a member can say, you know, I strongly believe we need this, and I'm gonna work on making that specification. They need to take the lead. There'll be tools for running all this stuff on moodleassociation.org, where we've created a new course format to handle all this. So it actually works pretty easy and smooth. So you propose a new project, and then you have project discussions over the 4 months, discussing those the spec and having things online. So on that site or elsewhere, if you want to make a Google Doc somewhere, go for it. You want to go and use other tools around the internet, go and use them. But the person leading the project is responsible for bringing that stuff back in to be a specification. Tabitha, you're asking, how does this work alongside tracker voting? These tracker voting is still, everything we have before is still going to happen. Tracker voting is more about bugs. It's more about smaller things. This is more about bigger things, things that need specifications. I imagine these things will also be listed in the tracker as well, so people outside the association can see them. But the main work for this period, these 4 months, will be working on it internally. But there'll be consulting. You know, it could be the document is on Moodle Docs or somewhere else public. There will be working groups at the Moodle Moots. So I'll get to that in a minute, but there will be working groups where people meet face to face to discuss these things as well. And perhaps this specification period isn't long enough for one spec. You know, it may go for a period of 1 year or 2 years, right? It could go for quite a long time. Actually, the other interaction with the tracker, which I forgot to mention, is, you know, these projects may be, wow, this, you know, the lesson module really needs some love, right? So the project is to look at the tracker, to determine those priorities, to bring them together, and we make a lesson project, right? And we're going to tackle all of these things at once and give the lesson module a big boot. So, it all works together quite well. I'll answer some other questions in a minute here. I'll just finish this cycle. So then there's a 1-month quoting cost estimate period and finalisation. So at this time, Moodle HQ will be putting like a cost estimate, and that's necessary so that people understand how big a project is. It's not easy as a user to know whether something is a very big project or a little project just by looking at the interface, because you know, it could require quite big changes to Moodle, even if it's a small visual change, or vice versa. In that period also, the committee that runs the association will also be kind of cleaning up the projects. You know, maybe there's some projects that didn't get completed, that are not ready yet at all, so they'll be kind of put on the backlog for next time, and that sort of cleaning up. But they'll be preparing a list of projects to be voted on. And then at the last month is voting time, and all the projects are up for vote. And your level of membership gives you voting points. So if you've paid $30 for an annual membership, you'll have 30 points. If you've paid $10,000 for an annual membership, you have 10,000 points. You distribute your votes amongst the projects. You might put 2,000 on this one, you put 3,000 on that one. It's according to your own priorities as an organisation or as a user. And at the end of the period, we'll then have a collection of votes. We'll know which project is the number one voted project, which is the second, which is the third, and they'll all be listed. So let me go back to some questions here. So Ravi, you said it has a developer focus. Will Moodle teachers benefit from membership? It is specifically about development. It's not covering anything else. It's all about developing core. It's about making the roadmap of Moodle. So teachers won't benefit from membership if they're not interested in participating. It's not meant to be for everyone. We still have Moodle.org. That's the community of you know, all the things that happen there, people supporting each other and so on. We will have quite a lot of different people in there. The plans that we have now is that when an organisation joins as a member, they can have multiple people involved. So depending on how big the organisation is, how big the membership is. So if you're at the top level membership, we're thinking now it would allow you to have 10 people in the forums. So there's the one person who paid for the membership in the first place, who controls it, and then they can invite other people in to under their in their membership. And that can be all kinds of people, designers, it can be teachers, it can be developers, technical people, non-technical people, whatever they think. All of those people don't get the vote. Only the one person per membership gets the actual vote, but they can still be involved. So I think we'll have quite a range of people in there. So Trish, you don't like the $1 for one vote? Well, it's necessary, I think, to do that, because if a teacher who, well, I'm saying a teacher, but an individual who maybe paid $30, if they had the same decision-making ability over someone who's paid $10,000, then you know, it's not really fair. In the end, the money is actually paying for the development. So for this particularly, right. Oh, that's what you're worried about. So no, so Trish, there's a limit actually. The top level of membership, that's all the points you can get. If someone comes along with $1 million, they're not going to get 1 million points. They will just get 10,000 points, like the maximum level. So if they want to donate money and put it in the pool, great. But they're still going to be the same weight as any other organisation at that level. And anyway, if you had $1 million to spend on Moodle development, you know, there's a lot easier ways to do it than trying to take over a Moodle association. You know, you could just pay us directly for something, or you know, go ahead and develop that stuff. So you know, I don't think it's a problem. This is really about users clubbing together to make things happen. And I think, Andy, big backers are going to everyone is going to act in their self-interest. I mean, that's the point. We kind of want everyone acting in their self-interest because we want to collect all those self-interests and make a group interest. And this is just a mechanism for allowing that to happen deterministically without all the politics that normally goes on. Okay, so let me go on. I know, it's interesting and exciting. We can talk about it for a long time. We had a great discussion at the UK Moot recently, and we still didn't cover everything. But within the next, if you go to, well, within next week, I should be putting up the first rules of the association, like a draft for comment. I'm requesting comments on it. And if you want to be notified about that, go to moodleassociation.org and join that mailing list. And we'll mail stuff out there. So at the end, the association board or the committee allocates the funds to the most highly voted projects. They contract Moodle HQ. We develop them at cost, at our cost. It's not about profit. It's about just getting things done. And they'll go in the very next release possible. So I think a lot of the time you may see the number one feature coming out in the very next release 6 months later. And once that gets going, that cycle, I think it's going to be very exciting to, you know, I personally I couldn't be happier to kind of take my hands off some of the roadmap and just let it be decided by you. I think it's going to be tremendous. So a little bit more details here. We have different tiers of memberships. Like I said, we're thinking currently 30 up to 10,000 per year. That's not finalised yet. Those are Australian dollars, so to go to US dollars, you need to probably do about 80% of that. To go to European, to go to euros, you need to, it's about 60% of that, 60, 70%. These are the kinds of figures that institutions have told us that they can pay, they can become members for things. They are members of lots of things, and this is another thing they can become a member of it. I said before they couldn't do donations, but they can do memberships, a lot of people have said, so I'm hoping this will be a good vehicle. There'll be a new board or a committee elected every year. At the moment, we're looking for some key founding members to be on that initial committee to launch it. And I've had already applications from lots of individuals, which is great, but I'm really looking for large institutions, you know, name institutions. So when we launch this thing properly, we can say, you know, these are some organisations that are behind it, and it will just help it get off the ground quicker. Now, there's no other benefits to being a member other than, you know, you're a member. It doesn't give you any, it's not a certification or anything. It just shows that, you know, you may get a badge you can show I'm a supporter of Moodle. It's not going to say you're particularly good at anything. You can't use it as a professional certification. You can't say that I'm really great at teaching or that I'm really great at giving Moodle services, and you shouldn't. It's just saying that you're supporting Moodle. So yeah, the new financial model from this year will be like this. So we'll have the Moodle partners still going strong and providing services that are necessary, and their funding will be taking care of the things that are not so sexy, if you like. They're making they're making us unsexy lot work on the core of Moodle, on the bugs, the security, the sites, the community stuff, all the processes and the training of developers, the hiring of developers, all that stuff. That's all, you know, Moodle partners are covering it. But then for the big new features, the association will be providing revenue to us to make those happen. And I think the end result will be a much better Moodle with a lot more evolution, a faster evolution than we currently have. And we'll still have the plugin space with people developing anything they want at any time and publishing it to each other. I Do I expect funding to be 50% association and 50% partners? I have no idea. Seriously, if we had 200 developers, I know we could find use for them. If we had 300 developers, I could find use for them. There is so much we could do. Just go look at the tracker and see how much is outstanding. Look at the modules, and some of them haven't evolved in years, and think of how much better they could all be. There's a lot of work. So, you know, if we have that problem, the association will have that problem, not me. That money will be targeted for Moodle development, but they may want to invest it, get interest from it, whatever. Maybe that's going to be, you know, the cornerstone supplying Moodle anywhere it needs to go into the future, where we all want it to go.